calls his policies liberal conservatism cannot afford to lead us, because he's leading us away from our voter base. He's leading us to a party which will have a minority.
This session of the House of Commons is now in order. Firstly, the House of Commons works based on an adversarial system, meaning that we always have a pro and a con. You can express your views saying either A's or nay, and then I will call that vote. However, if you move to divide the House, then we will have a placard vote. Okay? All right, conservatives here, thank you very much. All Labor members right here, I believe so. Yeah. And finally, we have minority parties.
God save our gracious Queen. Long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the Queen.
I believe that our first priority is to help our constituents back at home, for they are the people who voted for us.
We have to spend more on health care and the welfare of our citizens, rather than focus overseas on our defense expenditure. Thank you.
We need to show that inside of our nation's borders, we are strong and our citizens are in good conditions.
We are like a mother whose children are in need, and to help other children is it just does not make any sense.
Our country is in need. Our citizens do need help, but not as much as the international community at large.
I urge you all to think of the children. We have to invest in what matters. Education, childcare, healthcare. These are the issues we should be focusing about. We are already 5th in the world in defense spending. We do not need to go any higher.
We are 6th in the world in defense spending, and we are falling. Therefore, we must increase it to 2% and maintain it there, so that we are a respectable member of NATO.
Raising our defense funding is not more important than our fiscal responsibility.
We should not meddle in military affairs, but we should fight for the right and help these countries maintain their sovereignty, but non-violently.
We need to increase our defense spending so that we can be the superpower that we once were.
This bill directly takes money out of our own people, the people who elected us into this council in the first place, and throws it at some other nation more than 1,000 miles away.
Where did that leave us? A massive economic crisis and 5 years of cleanup for Labor's failed policies. Let us not make these same policies again.
Member from Leighton Wanstead.
Esteemed delegates, Speaker of the Chair, we will be funding our great country's new leaders. And these new leaders will help bring a new era. For now, we need to focus on our country, not others.
Minister of Finance, as myself, would like to remind everyone that in the 2015 budget for the UK, defense spending did actually drop. However, but it was only by $1 billion. We would also like to remind the entire Parliament that the UK does remain the largest defense spender in all of Europe, and in NATO, we are second only to the United States.
We need to move towards renewable sources of energy, and keeping subsidies on the coal industry is not the answer for the future.
Coal is failing. Coal will die in the next couple decades, and we have to look towards renewable energy sources to prevent global warming from happening and reducing CO2 emissions into our atmosphere and preventing this from destroying our great world.
Coal is a stable source of energy. It is not greatly affected by conflict like oil is. There are no sudden shortages like there is with natural gas. And therefore, investing in coal is the right decision to make. Coal is like Latin. It's a dying language.
I think it's a drug. And right now, we are addicted to it.
Now, it may be my old age, but I do believe that this is an illogical bill.
We've been using coal from the 1800s. Coal has proved itself to be a good source of energy.
And the carbon tax, I'm sure that we can all agree that this is the right step for our future.
In 2005, we paid over 600 million pounds to the government.
Which subsidies are essential. But, the carbon tax is
one of the few things that surpasses that. Do you honestly believe that a coal company will switch to renewable energy just because of this tax? No, that's not going to happen. It will not happen. What will happen are laying off jobs, cuts in payments, etc.
All those against?
With a vote of 28 to 18, this bill passes.
So we will now proceed to a 10-minute working snack lobby for the next bill.
The more insight we get into who we want to elect as our government, the better our government will be for the citizens in this nation.
Because this won't blend yogurt. It's like those who choose not to vote, even though they have the right, even though it is this country that they are living in. We should only encourage these people to vote, because if you don't have enough interest in our country, in our government, in our people, then you should not be encouraged to vote.
We need to give our people what they want. The most representative form of government. And they are not just going to accept granola. Thank you.
Today, we discuss whether or not teenagers, 16-year-olds, have the right to vote.
Would we let 10-year-olds drive a car? Would we let 10-year-olds drink alcohol? The reasoning behind those is that the 10-year-olds' brains are simply not developed, whereas many 16-year-olds do want to take an active role in politics. They do want to feel like they are part of our country.
The frontal lobe, which controls judgment, isn't conducted in many males until 24. Does that mean that we shouldn't let people vote until 24? Of course not.
Why don't we wait until they're 18, until they're the better voters, rather than giving them the steering wheel when they're 16? Thank you.
We would all like to increase the voter turnout, but we want it to be people who care, people who know about the topic.
They are under 18, and if we have faith in children under 18 to drive, we have faith in them to vote.
There are many 16-year-olds who are responsible, who want to be politically engaged, and who are ready to be the leaders of tomorrow. So let's support those 16-year-olds. Thank you.
To think of the future, to think of legitimacy, and to think of a better Britain. God save the Queen.
Now I, myself, have a teenage daughter. She is going to enter high school in the next coming years. And personally, I don't believe that her or her classmates should be capable of voting. They have not taken an adequate number of years of British history. They are going through a period of change where they're trying to find themselves socially and emotionally.
Some of these 16-year-olds do not care about voting. The ones that do not care will not vote.
If we trust them with the hands of a wheel on a car, why can't we trust them with a ballot to vote?
In favor of the amendment, say A. A. All those against? Nay! We're going to divide the House. A's, raise your placards. Wait, A's? No. Nays, raise your placards. Nays. Nays. All right, the nays have it. The amendment
We're gonna vote for
Hey guys, we can bribe people for votes. That's the only thing we can do.
Everyone make a circle.
Let's make a circle!
Stephanie for Prime Minister, guys. Stephanie. We vote.
Alright, raise them high! Like, straight on. Alright, Stephanie being Prime Minister!
Okay, so I choose the whip as Itai and I choose the deputy as Max.
Thank you. All right.
Now, apparently, after a long power struggle, struggle within the party, there has been a resolution, and we have a new Prime Minister who is the Right Honourable Member from Wellingborough. We will now begin with our voting. First one will be the Voting Reform Act of 2015.
This is a bill that will make our body a more representative place. It will make our elections more representative. It will fix our nation. Thank you.
The main point of this bill is that it lowers the voting age to 16. The 16-year-olds who actually partake in voting are knowledgeable British citizens who will create a positive impact in our government and help it represent the people more.
16-year-olds do not have the brain capacity, are not mature enough to make these decisions. Fellow delegates, do not pass this bill. By making sure that 16 and 17-year-olds can vote, they will be taught responsibility, and they will be able to take leadership roles more easily when they are older.
In the words of Margaret Thatcher, no, no, no.
16 is simply too young to vote.
They need to start somewhere, and that somewhere is with them voting.
The Conservative Party does not have faith in the next generation of British.
51 years ago, I was but a wee 16-year-old. I was not fully mature. I did not know what was best for me. And most of all, I did not vote. And that decision was a good one.
There are boys who sit at home who all they want to do is hold rallies so that they can help the environment. And there are growing amounts of children participating in things like Model United Nations.
We have spent so long fighting over one clause. There are 3 other clauses that will have just as much of an impact.
First, we will have a voice vote, and most probably we will then proceed to a placard vote. All those wishing to vote aye, say aye. Aye! All those nay, say nay. We are moving to a placard vote. All those wishing to vote yes, please vote yes at this time. Keep your placards up.
Come on.
All those voting nay.
Nay. We want order.
By one vote, the nays have it. The Voting Rights Act of 2015.
This bill is intended so that the government does not infringe upon the rights of our citizens to vote or to not vote, or to exercise any other political right, or to not exercise any other political right.
We have seen that not only the Conservative Party does not believe in our younger generation, but they do not even believe in our future government.
Member from Tiverton.
I totally think that we should vote for this bill because it gives us the freedom. What if we were not ready to vote yet? What if we just didn't know what was going on? It was too much pressure.
Only the people who care for our country will be voted. We do not want people who don't care about our country to be voting, and if we make voting a civil obligation, then they will. So this bill says that voting will never have to be a civil obligation to anybody who does not want to vote.
All right, vote from 22 to 18 to 5 abstentions. 6 abstentions. The ayes have it.
What about people with disabilities? For them, getting to the polling place, getting to the place where they can cast a ballot is already hard. And you're just trying to keep it hard and deny them their well-earned right.
Destroy the bill! Destroy the bill! Destroy the bill!
We must reach out to the people. We appeal to the people. The people should not appeal to us.
This bill is taking off the filter and letting uncommitted people who have no respect for this great nation, vote.
Let's talk for a minute about the mother who spends all of her time at work and gets home very, very late at night and who doesn't even have the time to write who she wants for the next prime minister on the ballot. We need to be supporting these people.
Okay, by vote of 26 to 18, this motion passes.
Even so, in our economy, people are being denied and jobs to the workforce because of past mental conditions.
We know that after 2 years, a person has been cured of their mental illness. They could still be incredibly insane.
If we are fighting for the rights of Britons, as I believe everyone in this chamber is, then we need to help those of our citizens who are mentally disabled.
It discourages employers from hiring disabled people because they are afraid that they will be sued for discrimination.
We need to be very, very sure that these mentally ill patients are still not having their problems, and therefore we need to have a probation period after the 2 years in which they are put in the mental rehabilitation center so that we can monitor their behavior and ensure that they are not still mentally ill.
The incentive will be used instead. For each mentally disabled citizen the business employs, they receive a tax cut of £5,000 per employee.
And I would also like to know where the funds for these procedures are coming from, as the Labour government has already said that they, if elected, they will create 30,000 new positions for nurses in the NHS.
Appointments with doctors. When hired, an employer can choose whether or not to require a formerly mental ill employee to have mandatory checkups with their doctor at the expense of the employer. This is now incorporated into the bill. I will type it in.
Since the employers will be with the employees for most of the time and they are observing them for most of the time, then then it can be at their discretion to have mandatory doctor's appointments with the employees.
Most rehabilitation programs are programs that don't require the hospitalization of these patients. I mean, a 2-year period to hospitalize someone, that's a really long time.
The employees should start paying for their own doctor's fee as soon as they have enough money to pay.
People are discriminating others because they are faced with a life that they did not choose for themselves. This is the problem of the mentally ill. What this bill does is it gives an incentive to companies to hire those people. We need to let this bill pass.
Those wishing to vote A, please say A. Those wishing to vote nay, please say nay. Nay! This bill clearly passes.
We believe strongly that those who have bent or broken the law should not help in electing those who shape the laws.
Whether or not they have broken the law or not, they are still British citizens and they should still have the right to vote.
It is not sensible or practical that we would jail every single person who comes into our country.
If we don't deport, then we either have to criminalize, which wastes money, or not do anything at all, which worsens the legal immigration situation even more.
The most common place for illegal immigrants to come from is India, followed by Pakistan, followed by Australia, followed by China.
This is a very good bill because it deports the immigrants instead of criminalizing them.
There are over 500,000 of these people residing in our country. They're using public benefits that are funded by our citizens.
Those wishing to vote A, please say A. Members wishing to vote nay, please say nay. Nay! This bill clearly passes.
A bill to ensure the safety of British equines during export and import processes. Be it enacted by the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Lords Spiritual and Temporal and Commons in this present Parliament assembled, and by the authority of the same, as follows. E, if the exporter violates any of these laws, it will be imprisoned for a maximum of 6 years and fined £10,000.
Britain cannot afford more excess programs taking away tax money from the everyday citizen.
So the fine should be much larger, and the cost of getting a license should be most likely larger.
That is why I urge you all to vote for the Horses and Ponies Live Export Bill, as that has funding that does not take away money from our everyday citizens.
This is completely ridiculous. We are not going to stand for our horses and our ponies to be eaten. And yes, it may be legal somewhere else, but that is not the kind of thing that Britain stands for. We stand for rights for animals.
And if it is legal there should be increased checks. We do not need armed forces to check egg quality.
There have been no cases of African horse sickness in the last 5 years, so that's a good sign. However, this should be done at the port of shipping if an animal is being imported in the United Kingdom, and that's the difficulty.
This bill aims to protect our awesome British horses. You must vote for this bill because this bill represents everything that is right with the United Kingdom. Thank you very much.
British horses, those same horses that we pride ourselves so much on, are being exported in inhumane conditions.
And we cannot send them away to be killed. We have to enact this bill to protect our horses and ponies, to protect them from this terrible fate.
All in favor of passing this bill on to the House of Lords, say aye. All against? This clearly passes. The ayes have it.
Over 1 in 4 women suffer from domestic abuse. 24% of that is from partner abuse, and 19% is from sexual assault. And I will not stand for this. Local authorities cannot tell these women when they have a vacant spot that they cannot stay in their refuges because of them being from a different city or a different town. I encourage you to vote for this bill because these women deserve better.
It has efforts to combat the racism and sexual assault that is sometimes present in these shelters.
Domestic abuse is obviously one that we can all agree on. We must stop it, and this bill will help this. I'm going to come out honestly. We have no disagreements in this. It is time to vote on it so we can move on to another bill. This bill passes.
You are put in prison. The only right that is taken away is your right to liberty, your right to go wherever you wish.
They gave up their right to vote when they offended our society.
These people are part of our country. They are citizens, and they have the right to vote for our country.
Jail should not be a place where people can enjoy rights. It's a place where they should be reminded of the rights they enjoy in society.
They are still citizens. Citizens deserve the right to vote.
I'd like to bring up the fact that nearly every single bill of voting has merely tried to bring in shadier members of voters, from prisoners, from other people that we do not want to see influencing our ballots.
All right, it appears we have to divide the House. Aides, raise your placards, please. All right, with a vote of 24 to 22, nays have it.
I hope you have enjoyed this House of Commons. We certainly have. So first of all, a big round of thank you to our Deputy Speaker here.
Motion to sing God Save the Queen.